the $100 million deal. We've
I
done things,
do.
Brenda. We've done things.
We've done
Welcome
things.
back to the 100 Millionaires Podcast. My name is Walter Murillo. I'm hanging out with my two millionaire co-hosts, Michael Shine and Mitch Jorsky. Mike, bring us in.
Massive income from passive income.
And how do we do it, Mitch?
We organize and we collect, and I need to organize and collect myself out of here in about 10, 15 minutes.
Which
Hey,
is why I hit the record button. So
We were just talking about Beavis and Butthead.
yeah,
You
I
ever
had
get a
to. I
chance-
had to bring us back into something that was.
Yeah. Go back. But there was an episode where they're watching, they used to watch videos on the couch, and
Yep.
they're like totally into Ozzy Osbourne. Like one of them even wears like a Black Sabbath shirt.
Yes,
And
yes.
there's the scene where Ozzy does a song with Lena, forgot her name, but it's like a ballad thing. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's really hysterical because, like, oh no, why did Ozzy do this? This is it's really funny. So go check
Heartbroken.
out Ozzy Osbourne on Beavis and Butthead.
And if you're looking to become a millionaire and you're wondering what's going on in the market, how do I segue out of that? That's a tough segue.
We have time to take. We have the time and the freedom to do stupid things if we feel like it, and it doesn't.
Yes,
hurt
and
us.
people
We're
have the
still
time,
earning money. Still earning money.
time and
I
the
like
freedom
that.
to make crazy purchases. How does a single family in Fort Lauderdale sell for 1.75 million? And I'm not talking about like a big,
Wow.
beautiful house. I'm talking about something that looks like it's going to get Airbnb'd. And honestly, it looks like it might be like 2 bedrooms. There must be
Certainly
more to the
not one of our
picture.
students.
Yes.
Definitely not somebody from the community.
I'm looking at deals closed. My one of my lenders sent me like their monthly recap, and here's some of the deals that we've done this month. Apparently, someone bought 4 units in Boston for 1.6.
No way.
Hey, have you guys ever seen the website for Sunday? Sundae. It's
I know of it. I've never actually been on the website.
well, so I met the guy who started it. He had another. He was the one I told you about. He started Lending Home, and then
yeah.
came Kiava. Well, so his new project is Sunday, and it's like, I guess Walter, we have like the wholesalers who go out there, and some of them might be unscrupulous and take an as-is property away from an elderly couple for something. Not the people you trained, but
Right.
there are
Those
out
other
there.
people, the guys that all
Yeah.
the other, I'm not going to name them, have
Yeah.
trained.
So
Yeah.
Sunday alleviates that problem. So if you're like someone who has a house that you just want to sell as is, that's a place to list it. And if you want to buy a house, that's the place to go look. So you guys should check it out. The website. The website is sunday.com.
I want to go back to what we were talking about before we hit the record button. We were talking about the Fed, right? What the Fed just did, the 25%, 25-point raise. You and I, Mitch, have an opinion on where this is going, where this leads, and what it brings to real estate investors, what it brings to just the average person, how screwed the average person is. And I mean, the unsophisticated investor, let's say the person who is not paying attention, doesn't own assets. What are the 2 different options for somebody to hedge? Because you said we should play both plays, right?
Bitcoin.
That was one of them, right? You said Bitcoin.
Well,
but
that was the easy button. I mean, I think there's other ways to do it if you really dig down. But I mean,
Not financial advice.
thanks, Mike. Definitely not financial advice.
definitely not financial
This
advice.
is just our
but-
opinions. The other one is real estate, right? Real
Well, yeah,
estate.
in an
if-
inflationary environment, real estate has performed well. And then, as much as Bitcoin is kind of still correlated with the moves of the stock market, people are still looking at it as a store of value, at least, kind of from a fundamentals perspective. And I think it's
That's my issue with it, is that so here on Roatan, there's all these stores that now take Bitcoin. It's over 120 different places, dive shops, et cetera, et cetera. But because of that 2 pizza story, I can't do it. I can't
can't do it.
take my Bitcoin and go buy a cup of coffee at badass Java. I mean, there's
Nor
a
do you
little-
need to, which is, why we're so blessed, because, someone in like Venezuela is 100% using that Bitcoin because that is their best mode of transaction, transactional
Hmm.
currency right now, since they can't trust their
That
currency.
makes sense. I couldn't figure out what it was being used
Yeah,
used
That's
for.
honestly so I spoke at Pete's mastermind last week, and when we talked about kind of like use cases and whatnot, I gave examples of with Ethereum and gas fees, but I also talked about why I personally believe in Bitcoin, and because it solves a problem, and it's not a problem in America. I was like, we can't see it because we're not living it. I'm like, Bitcoin's
Right.
just this fun like extra thing to invest in America, but in other countries, it's literally like an answer. It's a savior. And
Venezuela is a
that's
good example of a country that just totally inflated their currency.
Yeah. So I don't really care what Americans do when it comes to Bitcoin. I'm paying attention to the third world countries because those are the people that, are essentially acquiring it, using it. So
Well, America counts because it is the biggest economy, right?
I agree with
It
you,
is-
but it doesn't mean it's the only investment in town. In fact, if you look at any good hedge fund manager that's been in the game for decades, there's period of times where they're heavy emerging market stocks and light US stocks, and then vice versa. In fact, I was
a
looking
few
at
years ago, yeah. Buffett
I was
was
looking at a
huge in
chart, and it's
China.
like
Yep.
the US stocks have outperformed everywhere else so hard for like the last, I forget whatever it is, 15 years or whatever the number is, but like it was showing the chart where you see it like flip flop, and it's almost like a cycle. And it's like apparently we're getting towards that whatever crescendo right
Yep.
now. And foreign stocks may outperform US stocks over the next 5 years.
Yeah, it was all laid out in Big Shifts Ahead. They were talking about where the market looks like it's going to go. Tertiary markets make a lot of sense. And another one who said it was Sam Zell in his book. Am I being too
Subtle.
It's too subtle? Yeah, am I being too subtle? He talked about how the tertiary markets make more sense for them as investors than the United States. Like they were looking at he actually tells a story how he got screwed in China. He got into this huge deal and the Chinese government
right.
just shut his deal down and
Wow.
they lost a ton of
That's
money.
China. And that
investors.
goes back to the point of why people in places like China want Bitcoin.
Right.
Hmm.
Because the government can
Good
just make
point.
decisions out of nowhere and there goes your
Mitch,
currency.
are you collecting Bitcoin right now? Are you like somehow like with staking or just putting
No,
every
I
last
mean,
cent into it?
I just
We're not at the
buy it.
like yeah, we got to point that out. We are not at a buying price. This is not an entry point price.
Well,
Well, that
for you.
kills me because it's going to be worth 500,000 or $1 million a coin. So
I mean, Walter, it's all
18,000?
perspective. If if
Yeah.
someone believes that Bitcoin is going to be worth 100K or more at some point, then any price under 100K technically is a good buying
Exactly.
price.
True.
Exactly.
But
Sure.
yeah, would I prefer to buy at 20 instead of 28? Sure. But did I just buy some at 29 a couple weeks ago? Yes, I did. But that's also because I was using it as collateral for a DeFi loan. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna I want the money, I want Bitcoin. I'm not gonna wait for a drop that may or may not happen. Let me just buy this,
Right.
Amount of Bitcoin now and just add it to the collection.
Yeah,
Nice.
I look at it and say if I'm going to do something that makes $1 million, I don't see Bitcoin as my thing that I'm going to do. But it is a thing that I have exposure to, and just I think it's more for me like I just want to never be that guy who didn't have one. Yeah, I want to have a full Bitcoin, and that's why I acquired it. But beyond it, I don't know how much I would use it, like personally.
And
like, I
that's
don't know how-
fine. That's all it
Right.
needs to be. Like
Yeah.
Bitcoin, I don't think Bitcoin should be, outside of like extreme crypto heads or Bitcoin maxis. Like, I don't think Bitcoin should be your main focus on like, oh, I'm going to make $1 million with Bitcoin.
Right.
Like hell, I was reading an article from what's his name, Shamith. I'll never even
Oh, Shamath. Yeah.
pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
Halahapatia.
There you go. But he was saying
Nailed
like,
it.
and obviously he's a big Bitcoin proponent, and like he's a Warren, kind of like a Warren Buffett disciple. But he said when it comes to Bitcoin, I think Warren Buffett's wrong on this one. He's like, and Warren says like, tech's not my thing.
Yep.
So, but even like he was just saying like 1% of your investment money should be in Bitcoin.
1%.
Yeah, he said 1%.
Wow.
But then
I
again, his
guess that makes
portfolio is a
sense.
hell of a lot,
It's risk.
hell of a lot bigger than ours. So 1% equals a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. So like
I think 1% is super conservative.
do you? I think a cash position of 5% makes sense. I think a risk position of 10% makes sense. I don't know if I would put
Well, no, he said your
Bitcoin
investment
as my as
portfolio.
1% of my. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah. So if you out of 100% of your investment portfolio, you think 1% in Bitcoin is risky? I think that's super conservative.
Chicken Genius says 5%.
I mean, financial managers
Wow.
tell you 10% of your portfolio is supposed to be in speculative assets, right? So if you
Yeah.
consider
Right,
Bitcoin a speculative asset, I mean,
Yep.
in theory, you could put 10% in there.
Yep, that's true. It's interesting. I have a lot of money in speculative assets, but
As
it's
do I.
yeah.
do I.
But Bitcoin
fun,
is
fun.
yeah, it's not one of them, right? It's one of it is one of my speculative assets, and I do have
Which is funny
do
because you have more
a
control over
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin than some of these other investments you're in where you have to rely on other people.
Right. Yeah, at least Bitcoin is, reliant upon the
I get my
masses.
Bitcoin money whenever I want.
Yeah, I got to point back to FTX and Luna and
Yes, that's why you don't go on exchanges. Well, the Luna
Right.
thing, yeah, that's a whole the
When you say that, so wait a second. So you can get your Bitcoin anytime. What does that mean? You just send it to Coinbase
that
and
means
send it
if
to a
the money
fiat
that my
account?
Bitcoin is worth, if I need or want that money, I don't have to make a redemption request with someone. I don't have to someone
Right.
tell me, hey, I can't pay
Oh,
you
I
for
see.
3 months. I can go and cash that out this moment and have that money in my bank account basically tomorrow morning.
Yeah, just don't try to
Through
get it to be dollars
through an
from your bank
exchange.
account.
Yes,
Through
I
an
have to.
exchange.
If I want to get it back to fiat, I have to use an exchange. Unfortunately,
Okay.
So that makes a lot of sense. The other thing that I want to talk to you about, we were talking about earlier, is BRIC. We didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, but all of the currencies, it looks like there's the 4 main ones in BRIC, and then there's these like 24 countries that want to all join a single currency that is not the US dollar.
yep.
So what do you think that potential long-term impact is for the US, for the United States dollar, for real estate, for business owners, for, we'll call it Bitcoin, the stock market? Like, what is the long-term impact, and how can investors hedge? I know that's a big question. I'm treating you like ChatGPT right now. Like, so what? What would we do?
I mean, I
Maybe
think
I
it
should
goes back
take
to
this
what we
to
were talking about
ChatGPT, Mitch.
earlier,
Is
right?
that where you want me to
Maybe
go?
you should just put that into ChatGPT and tell
Real
us what it-
estate, Bitcoin. I don't know. Find ways to hedge the dollar.
if they
I don't
print,
know.
don't the stocks go back up?
I mean, I hate to
Start
say it.
printing again?
I mean, I hate, as much as I hate to say it, I mean, because it's quote, I feel like a dying asset, even gold.
Yep. Really, gold?
I'd rather have
When
Bitcoin than
when
gold.
they were printing before the stock market went way up. So I'm assuming that's what would happen again.
I think you need to implement the
Gold's done
barbell
okay.
strategy.
Yeah.
Right.
Barbell. Bring me your barbell.
Because the
what does your
bottom line is
barbell
just
look like?
like scenario A, scenario B. I got cash in the middle. That's the problem, though. We're
Right.
investors, so we never have really cash in the middle because we're too busy being invested.
Right. Well, we're very active investors, but I'm
Yes.
looking to have cash in the middle. That is,
Yes.
I
So
am repositioning my
I'm waiting for
philosophy.
cash to come back to the middle, and then I will push it to whatever side of the barbell it needs to go.
Yeah, I like that. It's okay. So how much cash in the middle? Right, because I'm about to go big liquid cash. And I know a lot of investors. Actually, I was just on the phone with a couple of guys, buddies of mine, who are about to take $1 million gain, and that's why we jumped on the call. They were like, "How do you get out of this? Like, how do we not pay the tax on this $1 million gain? We want to take the $1 million, but we want to do something with it." So Ron and I are in similar situations where we're doing some big gain sales, and I think we're just going to stay in cash. I think a lot of it is going to be in cash positions versus the redeployment of the capital like we usually do. We should how much would you say for cash right now? A lot of it is going to be cash.
I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. I don't know if you asked me something.
Yeah.
I
What's
jumped on
the
trying
cash
to
position on
interact
the
with our
barbell theory?
Facebook listeners.
Who's listening on Facebook that needs to be shouted out? You just send them a response, just tell them. Just shout them out.
This is true. Yes, that is actually work smarter, not harder.
That's
Well,
it.
no, someone
Carlos
said,
is
"Are you
on there. Carlos, hell yeah.
Someone
drop
said,
the
"Are you
chat, man. Where
suggesting
do you think we're
Bitcoin?"
at
And I
with
was
Bitcoin?
like, I mean, pretty much I did, where I was just quoting, what's his name, Shamith, that 1% of your investment portfolio should be in Bitcoin. And I'm like, I agree with him. In fact, I
about
definitely agree with
cash
him because I think that's
percentage?
a low amount. But I mean, it's
Where
like
does
anything
this
else,
go?
right? Invest what you can afford to lose. I mean, Bitcoin can go to zero, right?
Yep.
It could also go to 1 million.
Yep.
And the fact that people are desiring like an alternate, currency, and I hate calling it a currency because it's not, but just an alternate store of value or just any kind of alternate to the US dollar, or to even gold, right? You can't discount that. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
people are like, oh, what gives it value? I'm like, humans give it value. Oh, well, they can change their mind. They could, or they could not.
Yep. What about the stock market? Where does that come into the portfolio right now?
I don't even know. I mean, I just posted on Alchemist Nation about, the US money supply shrinking for the first time in like 100 years. And obviously the last time it shrunk wasn't good times. And, more money means what? Rising prices, right? As more money going to assets, it pushes
Inflation.
pushing up. So less money means what?
Yep.
Less
Deflation.
demand, less money going. So like that worries me a little bit about the stock market. It's all, the wild card that no one can figure out is, when does the COVID effect wear off? When
Yeah.
does that 30% of money being created in 2 years, when does that run dry? And I talked about this probably a year ago. I'm like, I have no idea how to even start to figure that out, right? But maybe you just pay attention to the M2 money supply and see, all right, where is it now? How much is it shrinking? When are we back to 2020 levels or whatever it is? I don't know. But either way, it's
Ray Dalio's got an opinion on it.
he does. Yeah. It's
And
tough to be bullish when the supply of money is right now shrinking.
right.
And I'm not saying I'm actually a bear. Like I look at the stock market and it looked like it wanted to break out, and it was basically touching its head on a potential breakout until Powell spoke yesterday, and I guess the market didn't like what he had to say. So, in the end, it goes back to the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent.
Yep. No, I like that. And Mike, where are you invested right now? You're going basically Tesla, real estate, and lending.
Yes, so
I'm in the first two.
lending, because
Yeah.
I can adjust.
Yeah.
I'm still have my Tesla, still looking for 2030 on the Tesla. I still have a large position, although Mitch is gonna show me some option strategies soon.
Yes, we got to do this.
Yeah, and then
Leaving money on the table.
What was
And
that called?
then-
That was the poor man's leap.
No, he's
no,
doing
not poor man's.
He's doing the rich man's because he
Smart
actually
man.
owns the Tesla stock.
What is it? It's a diagonal. What is it called? A diagonal.
Diagonal call
wedge,
spread.
Diagonal
Rich
full
man's
spread.
diagonal spread.
Poor man's covered call. Mike does
Okay.
I'm doing the poor man's covered call. Mike's doing the rich man's. He's a
Oh,
rich man. He's a
got it.
Tesla rich man. I'm a Tesla poor man.
He's a smart man. How about the smart man?
I just
I
Um,
like it.
And then still have some real estate. Although a couple opportunities we passed on, like the car wash, so that
Yep.
we didn't end up doing that. It's funny because you say getting cash. We used to say a year ago stacking cash, but I go back and forth with stacking cash because of the inflation. You're so short-term stacking short-term cash. How's that? To put into some investments, but
I
they're more
agree.
like business investments now. They're like passive investments in other people's like tech ideas and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. That's where we're doing the same thing. Yeah, the deal we just looked at, right? The deal we just looked at was a tech deal.
Cool.
I mean, the deal we looked at with you is actually
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of real
tech.
estate, lending, pseudo tech deal, like kind of. I mean, it's got a
And
website.
I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that Project 10K where
Yep.
you have a back of the napkin idea, but you don't know how, and you don't have 200 people in the Philippines to develop it and 200 people in India
Yep.
to develop it, that they'll take that idea and they want to do it with 10,000 companies. I took a little bit of my retirement money and invested in that. So
Yep. Vinny's
It's like
got
with
Scarlet
those-
Books, like it's like an AI bookkeeping business. Like
yeah,
there's
see, I think that those have like big upside, not financial advice, but
not financial advice.
when I'm looking at what to invest in, it's like, well, why wouldn't you take a flyer on some opportunity that if it hits,
Yep.
could be huge, you know?
Yep, 100%. Yeah, we're obviously spending a lot of time and money in Alchemist Station, just taking ground, just building
That's
events,
awesome. Yeah,
taking
that's
ground,
a
building
great
relationships.
one too. That's a great one too. I love it.
It's what we've always defaulted to. When in doubt, we don't know what to invest in, build your network. If we don't
Right.
know what to do, we
In fact,
just
you always say that,
expand.
like if someone's just starting out, that they should invest in themselves. But
Yeah. I think that's where we're gonna be the
That's
next
cool.
few years. We're gonna continue. I probably won't buy active real estate. I'll probably be passively investing in deals and
Right.
but I won't be, I don't know. If I'm going to get into a syndication, I want to be the only person in the syndication. Right? That's
Right.
that's
Yeah.
where I'm getting 70-80% of the deal. I could see myself doing smaller syndications, where
Yeah.
$4 or $5 million, it's a $1 million raise. Like I don't mind being in those. But
I just want to be the GP. I don't.
that's
I
my
wanna
point,
be
is
an
I want to
LP.
be, I
Yeah.
want to get that 10% extra and have that 80% of the deal. Like that I like. Yeah, so like I've seen some people, like I think Frank Padolano did a $750,000 raise. Like that's something I would go into now. Like those
Yeah.
where it's just like he's got his piece, he's got the 20%.
Are you an LP or are you a GP?
I'd be an LP and a GP, both.
Because I just had somebody suggested as LP, and I was like, I don't really want to be an LP at this point because I've already have a couple in there, and what I've noticed is that plenty of opportunities in the tech field or in business field are coming up.
Pay
And if you
better.
take say you have 50,000 to invest in, that's their minimum. You put it in that, now you've got a 5 to 7 year. And, I always listen to Mr. Jaworski here with his advice that you're lucky that some of these syndications are not doing capital calls because when what is it, rising tide lifts all boats. So there were all these syndications coming out, and now what does Warren Buffett say? When the tide goes out, we see who's not wearing pants or something.
See
like
who's
Who's not
swimming naked.
wearing underwear? Yeah, who's swimming naked.
Yeah, swimming naked. So
Yeah, there's a lot of investors swimming naked.
I don't know,
right now.
5 to 7 year hold, and all these promises that were made when it was big, and now.
Yeah, they're struggling.
I just feel like I'd like to do it's what Mitch said earlier. It's like when option traders trade, he wasn't saying about options, but I remember you said this before, Mitch, that they'll do like 20 trades and 19 of those trades will fail, but the
Yep.
one that hits so well that it makes up for the 19.
Oh yeah, it was like basically people investing in penny stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when we were looking at the penny stocks, we were just, dive into all the lithium stocks, like fair
Yeah.
spread, pick them all up, and we'll see what happens.
Right.
It
And
worked
if you
out.
hit on one, boom. I feel like that's with the tech industry. You got those, if you have a connection, like I've gotten recently with people out in Silicon Valley,
Yep.
and you vet the idea, that's kind of
That's
cool.
that's what angel investing pretty much is.
Yep.
You're gonna, Tim Ferriss talks about it all the time. It's like, I know I'm gonna lose on 9 out of 10 of these, but it doesn't matter because the one that hits, I'm like 100xing my money.
Like
That's-
David Cho with his
Yep.
painting a mural at what came to be
There you
Facebook,
go.
getting free stock that ended up being
Right.
worth
Oh,
$200
we were
million.
talking about that. Yeah. So tell a story, Mike. So we talked about this before we recorded, but David
There's
Cho
an
basically
artist
was a
out there by
painter.
the name of David Cho, and I saw him on like a YouTube short of the Joe Rogan, and he said that somebody came to him and said, "Hey, we'd like you to paint some murals in our offices. We can pay you 60 grand, but as a kicker, we'll give you some of our stock." And he was like, "Yeah, whatever," because he's an artist. He just wanted to paint. And it ended up that company was Facebook. And the value of the stock that they gave him is now worth $200 million. So, because we were having a discussion about you only have to be a one-hit wonder, right? Like Danzig.
Truth,
There you
man.
go.
Like Danzig.
Like Danzig. Mother.
That's how that conversation started, was one hit wonders.
Yeah.
It's like that in real estate. It's like that in investing. It doesn't
Hey,
take,
Yeah.
the whole portfolio won't win. All it takes is the one that does.
Like he said
Yeah,
in the founder, just let me be right this one time.
Yep.
Hey, Walter, I know
Definitely.
that you've had other successes, but if you think about it, the 24 condos,
Yep.
that was just like grand slam right there. That just,
I
and
will
actually,
talk about that to the day I go to the grave. That had, but it took us 7 years. Or I was investing for 8 years before I could finally
Right.
nail that one.
found that. And for me, it was Tesla. Like
Yep.
I didn't know. It just took one thing and it changed my whole life. Changed my whole life.
And
Yeah.
it did. And it's because you went all in on it. You started educating yourself on it, and you were spread. It's not like you ever sold any other stocks to get in. Like, you just held
Right.
everything, and
Yeah.
it was at a point where you were investing, and it was at the right time. It was right timing.
They
And
always talk about Michael Burry. They always give him crap because he was right once. So they're like, well, that doesn't mean he's gonna be right every time he tweets something,
Nobody's right every
like-
time.
except
Yeah.
for Elon, because Elon can push the market.
Yeah, he always says that about being less wrong. He's
Yeah.
like, we want to be less wrong about everything. He never says like, I saw him talking about Twitter the other day because somebody was asking him, if you get rid of 80% of the people who work there, how come Twitter can still run? He says, it turns out if you're not censoring people, you don't need as many people to run Twitter.
It turns out if you're letting
turns-
people exist, let the platform do its thing. You don't need all these people. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So he's
I love that retort. I love watching him
he's
do the whole thing.
savage. He's just
He's a
I
savage.
think if Mitch taught me that word. I never used it, but it's just
It's funny. I think Noah would have known savage and used that.
yeah. I don't, but no, I think Mitch mentioned it before.
All right, don't tell Noah that Mitch got this one, because that's a fail on his part.
He's taught me Noah's taught me a lot of words like, oh, that's fire, or
Yeah,
I mess
fire
with
apparently
that.
is the
He'll
that's
mess
hot
with that.
with
All right.
the youngsters.
Does he mess with that crypto, that real estate?
Yeah.
Mess with the
Yeah.
stocks?
I mess with
Awesome.
that.
Yeah,
Or
so
something
for-
good, like you got some good sushi. I mess with that.
I'll mess with that. All right, I'm hungry now. I don't even think sushi.
Yeah.
Okay, I got the clean diet. Is sushi technically part of a clean diet? I mean, those are complex carbs. I can do that.
Yeah, I don't know. You can get like if you're in the States, you can get like brown rice. I think if you
Yeah,
did,
Dorina
like,
gets brown rice.
brown rice, vegan.
So we just get it with the seaweed wrap thing instead.
There you go. Oh my
Ooh,
God. I love my newest thing, which is really not new, but I've been ordering was the hand rolls. Like if
Hand
you get like the veggie hand roll, it looks like an ice cream cone.
Yep.
They wrap it. Oh my God. There's another word that hits. He always says that hits. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man. All right. So the market is shifting. It's doing exactly what we predicted, exactly what we were hoping for.
Book recommended would be what, big shifts ahead or
Big shifts ahead.
Yeah.
Or another one is Am I Being Too Subtle?
Yeah.
Who wrote that?
Sam Zell.
Sam Zell.
Oh, another one you guys were talking to me about the other day that I got on Audible. I haven't listened to yet was $100 million offers.
$100 million offers, Alex Hermosa. Yeah. Oh, that actually brings up what we were just talking about, getting equity in companies. He owns acquisitions.com.
Yes, he does.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I saw that story when he talked about like they were talking about different websites and how much each one was going to cost. And I think he paid a pretty freaking penny for acquisitions.com for that URL.
Wow.
But his
Wow.
strategy is he takes companies that are $3 to $10 million and he gets them to $100 million.
Yep.
So, but he takes 10% equity in the company.
Yep. That's like the SBA guy that I know. He's like, and now I see him. It's funny because now I get his Facebook ads all the time. He helps people buy small businesses with SBA loans and he gets 10% of the company just for
Amazing.
helping them with that process.
Amazing.
Wow. Wow.
Equity in companies.
And he also
It's-
shows them how to obviously, increase that business, because you're buying small businesses where they're ripe for the picking in terms of either they have no technology or whatever it is. Like, so just
They got no sales team at 3 million, 5 million. They got no sales team. That's what they're usually
Right.
missing. Sales and marketing.
Right.
And that's what Alex will throw in. At that, if you're buying them for under $250,000, they're missing technology. You're right. Like that's that spot. If you're buying them under $250,000, they're missing technology. Possibly they're missing management. That's why they stayed at that size. But I've been looking a lot into it, and it's the right way to go. Even in Alchemist Nation, I see it in our company. I'm like, holy shoot! Like we were missing our whole sales team. Like now we just put in a
Yeah.
sales team. We just did the one thing. We're great at marketing, but we were missing a
That's why I
sales.
like,
sales
that's why I
person.
like that investment, the Project 10K.
Yep.
They take 50%. So someone has a good idea. Jared and his team get 25%, but the investors get
But they build the whole thing.
25%, but they build the whole
Yeah.
thing.
yeah, I like that a lot too. It's something else I'd like to get invested in.
10,000 companies, if you got 25%, because he's giving away 25% to investors like me. But
Yep.
if you got 25% of 10,000 companies, that's and a couple of them were actual unicorns, like ended up $1 billion. I mean, yeah.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. That's all it takes is for one to take off.
So
go
the
to-
moral of this podcast is invest smartly, invest prudently, and at the same time, still take a shot here and there at some unicorns.
Right.
Yeah. 10%,
Love that.
10% on the shots. Oh, it's funny because we talk more about the shots. Like you and I, we never talk about the actual business we're doing, right? Because we've got that on
Right.
lock. It's like, okay, that thing's running, the money's coming
Yeah.
through. We always talk about the obscure, like, what should I
They're
do with my
fun.
gambling money this
They're
month?
fun. Yeah, shiny object.
The YOLO
It's fun.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because we don't actually talk about the assets that are making all the money.
We don't talk about the
it's so
grind.
interesting.
Right.
The grind
Even if
doesn't
you're
get
only,
people's
Grind.
attention,
Yeah.
right?
even if you're only investing like $500 in some sort of crypto thing. That's
We'll
like
spend more
so
time on
exciting.
that than
Yes,
That's so
we'll
exciting.
do a fundamentals podcast
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talk about the grind. Speaking of the grind, I got to stay on the 75 hard grind and get my next
Oh,
workout
nice
in,
job.
aka go play basketball.
Nice
So
job.
with it, man.
All right.
That hits. Did I use that right, Mike?
there you
That
go,
hits.
that hits.
That hits. Yeah.
It's fire. All right, let's get out of here. Michael Shine, take us out of here, brother.
Massive income from passive income.
Yeah,
Mitch, how do we do it?
hire that sales team so you can organize and collect.
The point is not to work, it's to generate income. Choose your success, your choice. Always work with the
Always
best.
work
Work
with the
with the
best.
best.
See you guys.
Peace.